Hello beautiful people, welcome back to Pots and Petals. Today I thought we'd do something a little different and I'd give you an update on my 3 ponds. So this is my largest pond. I've got 2 smaller ones, and this time of year there's so much going on and it's changing so quickly, so I thought let's do the first pond tour, or ponds, and see how they go, because there's plenty to come and have a look at. So let's see what we can find today. So this is the larger of my 2 ponds. It's my newest pond and this is its 2nd summer. This is the beautiful fern I got the other day. Got to show that off. So it is quite a newly established pond, but already I've got newts in here. I think I've seen 2. We've had frogs spawn, which resulted in all the tadpoles, damselfly larvae. Watching them come out of the irises is amazing. We've got water boatmen, pond skaters, loads of little bugs in there that I'm not 100% too sure on, but I will try and do some research. Full of aquatic snails. So this pond is full of life, and I do occasionally get some proper dragonflies around here as well. As for the plants that I've got, so let me just sit down here. So here we've got some watermint. It's never done too well, so I might look at replacing that with something else. And then at the back, let me just zoom in. So that spiky plant here, this one, that is a sweet flag, a chorus, I believe. It will produce these little flowers, spikes that come up. And then we've got the mare's tail there. And then just back here, we've got the flag iris. Now I've got a few buds coming out this year. It's the first year that that's flowered, so that's going to be exciting. I think it's yellow. And then in the middle, we've got the water lily. It's a 2nd year, so it's yet to flower, so I'm hopeful for that. And then just round at the back there, if you can see all the green, that is watercress. So all you do is get a bag of watercress from your local supermarket and chuck it in the pond. Now it can overgrow, so you do have to pull some of it out, but it's a really nifty way and cheap way to get some foliage growing in your pond. But do watch out, because it does spread. And then just over there in the corner here, oh sorry, we've got the forget-me-not, and they seem to have self-seeded around this year, just as well as the standard forget-me-nots. But I sit here for 20-30 minutes every time I'm down here with a cup of coffee. Got a little seat there, and I just watch the nature. The birds come down. You get all sorts of insects. So it is a really good way of getting wildlife into your garden. So whether you've got a small garden, a large allotment like this, I recommend getting some form of water. You can find something that will fit the size of your garden. this is my first ever pond. It's probably my smallest, but this is the first pond I dug out when I got the allotment. I think I'd only had the allotment a couple of months and I wanted the pond. Ever since I was little, I've been fascinated with ponds and pond life. So now I don't have too much life in this one. This is mainly full of snails, and in the height of summer, toads and frogs. There's loads of the oxygenating weed in there, so it does keep really clear for how small it is. And I've just let everywhere around it just get really wild. As you can see, I've got the nice tall grass here. I've got buddleia behind the tall grass, if you can just about see. So this is really a real wildlife pond. Gets a lot of shade over here. And up here we've just got more wildness. Now I do want to try and plant a little bit behind here, because just over there, that's the other pond. So it'd be nice to get these connected somehow. But not too much goes on in here. But if I catch any frogs, I will be sure to share with you guys. And finally, we have what I call my acquired pond. So this half of the allotment, my neighbour gave it up, so I took it on. Whereas the side of the polytunnel, poly house, and my other two ponds are my original plot. So in here we've got plenty of the mare's tail. That seems to have taken over in here, but it seems to be keeping the water clear. And we've got a flag iris here. This did flower last year. I bought it when it was flowering, so but I still can't remember the colour. And we've got some form of aquatic grass in the middle. We are right underneath the pear tree, so it does get a lot of debris, which you might be able to see just in there. But in here we get loads of frog spawn. So if you look in there carefully, you should be able to see loads of tadpoles moving around. So for a small pond, we do get an awful lot of tadpoles. I planted this up. This did have like some form of bulrush in there, and it's just way too big for the pond, and it was literally sucking up the water throughout the summer, and I was basically watering a bulrush. So that came out, and I've replanted it up with these bits and pieces, and just popped some rocks in there as well for some hiding places for the frogs and the newts and any other critters that come in here. And always make sure you've got some form of ramp or some exit for things like hedgehogs and other small mammals that might find themselves having a little dip. So yeah, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Make sure you've got some form of escape route. But again, I keep this pretty wild. I think that's the idea of a pond, is to attract the wildlife more than anything else. So whilst we're talking ponds, I have bought a new little fountain for the pond, just to get that water oxygenated a little bit better. I did have one of these in my smaller ponds. It lasted a couple of years, but the filter does block up quite quickly. But we'll see how this one goes. It is a bigger pond, so I'm hoping that there's going to be less debris to suck up, but we will find out. So yeah, let's put this together and see what sort of fountain we get. So in the box you get this little fountain. Now it's already started because the sun has hit it, so I'm going to pop it in the water because I believe it can damage it. The motor overheats, so I'm just going to pop that in the water quickly. I already have. And then you get some nozzles, so you can change the flow of the water and how it looks, so we'll give them a go. And these, I think, are to help it raft a little better. I'm not too sure, so we'll pop these on and see what it does. So that's the water fountain in the pond with no nozzle on it. I put these straws on them. I think it's to just maybe help it stay afloat a little bit better. I'm not too sure, but let's try out some of the different nozzles, shall we? So this is definitely my favourite, purely because the other ones are way too high and the chance of the wind just blowing the water out of the pond whilst I'm not here doesn't sound ideal, whereas this one, I know the water's going directly into the pond and it's still having the same effect that I want of aerating that water. So yeah, I'm going to stick to that one and see how we get on. You might be wondering why those pots and mugs are in the pond, but they're not there accidentally. They're there for just some extra cover for the little critters that find themselves in the pond. But they're my 3 ponds. I'm going to try and do an update once a month for you, if not just as and when things change. I'll keep an eye out for any frogs, newts and interesting little critters that I find in here, and I'll pop those updates as and when I find them. But yeah, I hope this has given you some inspiration to go out and dig yourself a little pond somewhere. Even if you can't dig it in, you could buy a little barrel, fill it up with some water and some different aquatic plants, and it will have exactly the same effect. So highly recommended. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. Little pond tour. And I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye bye.